Hello everyone, and welcome to the first webinar of this series, Making It Happen. My name is Frederica, and I am part of the EDGE team. Over the years, I've traveled to emerging markets such as India, Brazil, and Mexico, and some issues really caught my attention and highlighted the importance of impact business in my eyes. So throughout this series, we will try to give you some perspective and background of serious challenges low-income people face, and how some businesses are tackling them and making an active contribution to improving the quality of their lives. So today, please feel free to use the chat room on the side and share anything that you want to share with people here today, and we'll definitely have a conversation around it. So let's get started. So let's look at this diagram. I just wanted to do a quick pop quiz. Does anyone know what this graphic represents? All right. Now, does any of you know which symbol refers to which Millennium Development Goal? Let's try to have a quick guess here in the chat room. So here you go. Did you get the meaning of the symbols right? Let's talk a bit about how they were created in the first place. So in September of the year 2000, leaders of 189 countries met at the United Nations in New York and endorsed the Millennium Declaration. So this was a commitment to work together to build a safer, more prosperous and equitable world. The declaration was translated into a roadmap setting out 8 time-bound and measurable goals to be reached by 2015. So we're actually pretty close. They were known as the Millennium Development Goals, which you can see here in this slide. So this means that the first symbol refers to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Then the next one is to achieve universal primary education. The next one being promoting gender equality and empowering women, followed by reducing child mortality. Then the next one being improving maternal health care, then combating HIV and AIDS, malaria and other diseases. Next one being ensuring environmental sustainability. And the last one, developing a global partnership for development. Quite an extensive list, isn't it? So does anyone know what type of work is being done under the Millennium Development Goal number 7? So that's at the bottom, the green one. Any guesses? Okay, let's find out. So these are the topics being addressed under the Millennium Development Goal number 7. So this is the list that they are trying to work on. So the first one is to integrate principles of sustainable development into country policies and programs, and also to reverse the loss of environmental resources. The second one is to reduce biodiversity loss, achieving by 2010 a significant reduction in the rate of loss. Number 3 is to improve the lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers by 2020. And lastly, and the one we're the most fond of, is to halve the proportion of people without access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. So each MDG addresses a couple of issues, and in EDGE we are very much in touch with the issue of sanitation. And we wanted to have a conversation with you today to look at why is this such an important topic to tackle in people's lives, and more than that, look at businesses that are addressing this need. So let's get started. Did you know that 2,600,000,000 people globally do not have access to adequate sanitation? Scary, right? Now imagine you don't have access to basic sanitation. So what are some of the problems that you think can arise from not having basic sanitation services? Let's have a quick sharing here. What do you think? All right, so let's look at some more consequences now. So because of poor sanitation, the water gets polluted and people fall ill, and this causes 1,700,700 deaths per year. The consequence, and a really sad one, of improper sanitation is that over 1,000 children die every day. And did you know that only a third of the population in India has access to sanitation facilities? It's quite hard to believe, isn't it, when you look at it from an American point of view? So around 200 million people are affected by natural disasters annually, and sanitation is a critical aspect of disaster response. What does this mean? Let's put it in some context. So imagine when you have floods in your city. The disaster response includes providing food, water, shelter to those affected, but also being able to provide portable toilets is an important element in the recovery period, isn't it? We also wanted to give some context here. So let's look at Asia, for example. So over 50% of India's population defecate in the open daily. So this means around 638 million people in India, which is followed by Indonesia with 58 million people and China with 50 million. All these facts we just went through, they look extremely scary when you put it all together. So how far are we in meeting the MDG number 7 to halve the proportion of people without access to basic sanitation by 2015? This is what their last report showed. Gains in sanitation are impressive, but not good enough. So from 1990 to 2011, 1.9 billion people gain access to a latrine, flush toilet, or other improved sanitation facility. So despite these accomplishments, they say that we need a more rapid progress to meet this target, especially with regards to stopping open defecation and instituting the right policies. They say these two are really key. So in terms of sanitation target, the world is falling far short. In 2008, 2.6 billion people still had no access to a hygienic toilet or a safe latrine. Approximately 1.1 billion people were defecating in the open, resulting in high levels of environmental contamination, as you can imagine, and exposure to the risks of worm infestations and microbial infections, such as, this is how cholera happens and hepatitis and so on. So the situation was most severe in the WHO African region, where the percentage of population using improved sanitation facilities only rose from 30% in 1990 to 34% in 2008. So it's pretty scary, still something to do, right? So what else can be done to help achieve this target? Are you thinking how businesses can contribute to this? Because I am, and they can. Let's talk about a new type of business that is focusing on such issues. Let us introduce you to impact business. The businesses in this field are financially sustainable ventures providing basic products and services to low-income populations. So some of those basic services can be and should be access to basic sanitation, right? So now let's look at some of the characteristics these businesses should have to become successful models. So what characteristics are core to these businesses, do you think? Let us, from our experience, tell you a bit about 3 top key characteristics that we found are very common in the successful businesses that we've worked with. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is they are permanent and self-sustainable. So these businesses don't depend on grants, donations, etc. They depend on the success of their core product or service. So in essence, they make profit through their business core, which ensures their own sustainability. So for example, if their business is to sell toilets, for example, then their profit needs to come from selling that product. So the second characteristic is to do with accessibility. The products and services need to be easy to access to its customers. So first, one must look at the profile of the customers at the base of the pyramid. Making a product or service accessible means whether they are available in the local language of the customers. They can reach the product easily or not. Do they have to pay for multiple transportation, or is it nearby where they can see it? And the last one is to do with scalability. So the businesses created in this field are addressing problems of millions of people. It's just not of one person, it's millions of people. Therefore, the business needs to think about scale and not only about a small community. Does the business have the possibility to grow, expand, and reach millions? And as a consequence, the financial sustainability is very dependent on this point. In some businesses, the financial model only sees return if it reaches a certain scale. And is also an important point for investors if you're interested in that. Implement what we just told you, the new type of business called impact business and all these characteristics and so on. We really wanted to show you some concrete business models that are addressing the issue of sanitation through such a model. So we're really excited to bring you today to businesses. So the first one we want to talk to you about is Free as Shramik. So it was founded in 1999 by Rajeev Kher in India, and they manufacture, service, clean, portable, and other public restrooms for unserved settlements, slums, and also similar such applications in India. So households basically pay a monthly fee to use a toilet, if you know what I mean. So in order to help you understand a bit more of the adventure of being an entrepreneur, tackling such a big issue, we had a pleasure to meet the CEO, Rajeev, and interview him, sharing his perspective about the journey it is and what it is like to tackle such a problem. So I hope you like it, and let's hear what he has to say.
So I saw this in North America that everybody had toilets. It was not considered luxury, but a given. Whereas in India, toilets is still a luxury. When I decided that I wanted to come back and do something on my own, I thought that toilets was a great opportunity because having seen the one side of that people in the country have everything, and then in India you realize that there are so many people who don't even have a toilet. So that was one of the ideas that I had in my mind while I was working, that maybe it's a good opportunity to explore in India. I did think about many other things. Typical mind, entrepreneurial mind does think of several things, but this was something which was very close to my heart, and I had always remembered that whenever we used to travel in India, with my mother and with so many people, especially with women, you always had a problem, stopping by at highways. You had to, probably find a good bush or something like that. It was a big issue. So we thought that this is, the right way to go forward. And not only is this a model which is, it's got good revenue, it's highly profitable if it's done properly, but it's got tremendous scale. It's a non-seasonal activity, and it's extremely socially impacting. So, it typically fits into our 3S philosophy, which is actually Shramik sanitation systems, but it's also scale, social impact, and non-seasonality. And it was very difficult to really push this product services actually into the market because people were a little apprehensive. Was not something which was done regularly. So it took a lot of time. The concept, in fact, even today, we're like maybe a small minuscule percentage of the market. We carried on until it was very difficult because getting finance has always been a problem for most companies, So we had to go to banks, and banks would not be willing to give us funds. Was always that problem. Finally, in 2006, we started manufacturing also, very small scale, small machines that we had. 2009, we got interested by a private equity group which does social venture funds. So Avishkar, that has invested with us since 2009, and company has grown tenfold. In the process, we also developed various models for the bottom of the pyramid and for the low income groups. So in slums, we started developing models in slums. In the last 1 or 2 years, we've been exhaustively working with in Delhi, one of the slums in Delhi called Anand Vihar. We're working with the Dell Foundation there. Right now, we're working in Pune. We're working in Hyderabad. In Bangalore, and we're looking at moving into many other cities to provide a micro-entrepreneurial model. And we've created a terminology called a sanipreneur, so a sanitation entrepreneur who would actually be at the site, and provide toilets inside the slum. It could be ideally right now the project that we're doing in Dattawadi and Varje, and also in Karvenagar right now. We've put toilets in a school in Dattawadi. So during the daytime, the kids of the school get access to the toilets, and after school hours and before school hours, it's the people in the vicinity who can use the toilets for a pay-and-use concept. We're also using a technology platform, Android technology platform, to collect all the data of people who are using these toilets, and then of course offer these guys. The Sunnypreneur handles this Android platform, and we know how clean the toilets are. We can also tell them how they can improve their productivity. We also want to create a retail hub here, so people can buy toiletries, they can buy small knickknacks, they can buy Airtel, you're not Airtel but whatever, any cell phone microchips that they can buy there for cell phone time, that they can buy airtime. So we're trying to create a profit entity because we don't want to be dependent on grants and funds coming in from, so it's very difficult to be sustainable. So we're trying to create models which would be inclusive, which would generate employment, generate enterprise building for the person who manages this. So the initial plan is to put the toilets there ourselves. So there is a phenomenal market for providing any BOP initiative, whether being sanitation or water. Water and sanitation would go hand in hand. At many times what really happens is people focus more on water and less on sanitation, purely because toilets and sanitation is really, it's like, it's not on the wish list of many people to really even think about. It's a dirty job, it's like down there, so not too many people want to really pursue it. But if you ask me, it's like any other business activity that you can do. If you can plan it properly, run it like a proper business, scientifically think about it, manage it properly, have the right kind of people, the right kind of resources, it's like any successful business. And I think in the United States, the portable sanitation business is like a $7 billion industry. In India, it's still very, very tiny, very small. You can look at the potential. America has a population of 350 million people. We have a population of 1 billion, so there's a phenomenal potential for portable sanitation, even as a separate entity. So to provide sanitation to migrant labor, provide sanitation to disaster, provide sanitation to religious gatherings, for construction events, and make it into a legislation, make it compulsory that, so there'll be more people like us, who would want to actually start this business. In fact, we have a manufacturing setup as well, so we can even sell to people. We encourage people to come to us, buy our toilets, and set them up. So you can start in your own city, you can take our toilets and start a service there. So we're encouraging people to, to come out into the market, take this as a business model. Just to give you some statistics, last year we provided sanitation to about 200,000 people. And out of those 200,000 people, 130,000 people out of those were first-time toilet users. Think about it. 130,000 were first-time toilet users. And out of the 130,000, 50,000 were women and girls, children. What I would correlate that to is that there's going to be an improvement in school, in absence from school. Basically, the dropout rate is going to decrease. More people will attend school. More girls will attend school, and typically in the adolescent stages, this is a very typical problem in India, where the dropout rate is extremely high because of lack of sanitation in schools. So with this model that we have pitched, that we put toilets in schools and then we have the community using it as well, the dropout rate in schools is going to go down, and it's going to become better for the economy. It's going to become better for the country. And sure, it's a big feather in our cap for creating such a large social impact. So these kind of things we want to inspire other entrepreneurs to take up and see, look, there's a bright future, you can also make money, you can be successful, and the biggest thing is that you're providing such a huge social impact to a large country like ours.
Another business we wanted to show you comes from Kenya, and it's called Synergy. And the curious fact is that they came out of a business plan competition called GSVC. So while FreeS provides portable toilets, Synergy's model is slightly different. Here, slum entrepreneurs buy the toilet from Synergy and implement them in their area. So this also contributes to increasing employment in the slums. So in addition, the waste is collected to convert into renewable energy or organic fertilizer, for example, amongst other uses. It's great to look at Synergy's impact to date. So they have brought 219 toilets to informal settlements. They have around 10,000 daily users, pretty impressive. And the payment method varies as they can provide, for example, weekly to monthly fees. Children can pay less than older people and so on. And like 1,000 metric tons of waste safely removed from the community as well and are being treated. And on top of it, they have created 409 jobs, which include their team, the operators, and the attendants that they hire as they expand their business. It's amazing to see how much they have achieved, isn't it? As we reach the end of our webinar, we would like to leave you with some more links for further information and next steps. We would like to thank and recommend WHO, who has provided a lot of information shared today, and we also recommend you to read one of IntelliCap's publication to understand the views on sanitation. The title is here in the slide, and the latest MDG report also has some really good statistical information for you to dig into if you like that kind of stuff. Some other businesses around these issues that you can look up further are RM Scientific Solutions and ICO Toilet. One thing we'd also like to mention is that there is another issue that almost comes hand in hand with sanitation, and that is the one of accessing clean water. Some interesting names to get you started on that front are Sareal, Kanak Resource Management, and TanClean. One other thing we'd like to leave you with is with an understanding of what type of jobs there are available in the area of sanitation. What does it take to build and run such a business? So this is a snapshot of some of the jobs Synergy is recruiting for, and we're showing it to you so you can see the variety in job descriptions. We need everyone in this area, from sales roles to engineers to team managers and so on. The list is never ending. And the most exciting thing is that they are not conventional, because your customers have different needs and challenges. They have base of the pyramid problems, which makes your job challenging, making you deal with something new every day. Keep that in mind when you're looking for your next move in your career. Look up all these jobs that are out there, and they need people like you. This is not about collecting waste or anything. It's about building a business that's going to reach billions. So what is next for you? So we have 2 more webinars coming up. So the next one is next week on Thursday and is focused on maternal health care. Really exciting topic to dive into. And the last one, we have a special speaker from Bid Network that will help you understand how to create a business plan with them. So also keep a note on your diary on that one. It's happening on the 24th of October, and Maria Pontes is coming from Bid to talk to you and help you get your idea off the ground. Also associated with Bid Network and coming up soon, and we will email you for sure details, is a partnership with Bid Network where you can submit your business plan with Bid Network, and the details will be explained further, but if you do it well, you can access mentorship and possible funding. So something to be tuned in the next few months. Please do submit the survey. The more we can know of you in terms of information context, the more we can give you in terms of opportunities and more things for you to dig into if you really like the subject. And because we want you to kind of get started after the webinar series are over, so end of October, we want you to join our photo contest, which is a first step for you to frame your ideas into business plans. So the first step we want you to take is to think of an idea that you have of a business that can improve the lives of low-income people in your community. So just submit a photo of you and your idea in a piece of paper that just explains and answers these 2 questions. So what is the identified problem in your community, and what is the business solution to solve this problem? So more details, like I told you, will coming up the end of October, But stay tuned with this because we really want to help you go through the process of creating your business. So this is the first step moving. Like this is the brainstorming phase, ideation phase. Hope you join us on that one. So thank you so much for being with us today. We really hope it was useful. We managed to give you some new information and help you understand what you can do as well to get engaged with the field. Hope to see you next week, obviously. I hope you'll be there. Tell your friends. And also stay in touch with us by following our online channels. You can see on the slide we have our website and all the social media engagement as well for you. So we have on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So stay tuned and thanks so much for coming and see you next week. Bye.